You call that the GOAT? My grandma would have taken that shot, man. The bar erupted. Bottles clinked, curses flew, and the replay looped mercilessly on the giant screen above the crowd. LeBron's hesitation, a weak pass to the corner, and the buzzer sounding over a stunned silence. He had a wide-open lane, someone shouted, slapping the counter. No heart, another muttered. Not a killer. Never was. In the corner, a boy no older than 10 clutched a worn Cavaliers jersey. It was a size too big, probably his dad's from better days. His eyes didn't blink. He kept staring at the screen like it had personally betrayed him. His father tried pulling him away, but the kid didn't move. His mouth trembled. I waited all year for this, the boy said softly, like he wasn't talking to anyone at all. Why didn't he just shoot it? Back on screen, the analyst didn't hold back. That's what separates Kobe, MJ, and LeBron, said one. Moments like this. He disappears. Was he even on the floor the last 2 minutes? Someone sneered. The crowd laughed. The Jersey kid walked out. The next morning, the headline burned like gasoline. Choke King. LeBron shrinks again in final seconds. And then came the voice America either lived for or couldn't stand. Skip Bayless. Face stone cold. Tone surgical. Let me be absolutely clear, Skip said, looking into the camera like he was delivering a verdict, not a take. This man will never be the greatest. Not now. Not ever. Not after that. Cut to the clip. LeBron's face, pale under arena lights, eyes shifting. The pass. The clock. The miss. Back to Skip. You either want it or you don't. And he doesn't. Across the country, in a dark room in Brentwood, LeBron James sat silently. No TV glare touched his face. Just the audio. He didn't flinch, didn't yell, didn't argue. Just sat. Alone. His phone buzzed nonstop. Teammates, friends, haters, reporters. But he didn't touch it. He'd already read it all in the crowd's eyes. There was a photo from last night that had already gone viral. Him walking to the locker room. Towel over his head, shoulders drooped, and a little kid in the stands behind him holding a Believe sign upside down. That one hit different. The weight wasn't just media. It was children, cities, legacies. And maybe, just maybe, he was starting to believe what they said. He stood, walked over to the mirror, looked himself dead in the eye. Maybe, he said, voice barely above a whisper, maybe I'm not who they think I am. But he didn't turn away. He kept staring. Because walking away from the pain wasn't an option. Not tonight. Not when the whole world had already decided. The king had no crown. 500 words, deep emotions, direct continuation from Section 1. He didn't sleep that night. After Skip's voice faded, after the bar noise became a memory, after the tweets stopped buzzing, LeBron stared at his ceiling in silence. His mind wasn't in 2023 anymore. It went back, way back. Back to that high school gym in Akron. The floors smelled of sweat and dust, the kind of place where dreams either ignite or die quietly. He was 17, a kid. But when the Cavaliers scout walked in and saw him drill 3 straight logo threes like it was nothing, the whisper started. He's not a kid. He's the future. Then came the Sports Illustrated cover. The chosen one. He remembered holding that magazine in his hands. His mom was crying. His coach was speechless. Everyone around him saw a king, but he still felt like a scared kid in oversized shoes. On draft night 2003, David Stern called his name first. The world roared. Cameras flashed. And LeBron, smiling on the outside, heard only one thing in his head. Don't mess this up. The first few seasons were electric. Triple-doubles. Dunks that shook arenas. Game winners. But nobody ever let him just be good. He had to be perfect. The next Jordan, the savior, the king. And then came 2007. Finals. His Cavs versus the Spurs. His city finally dared to believe. They lost. Swept. For games. For painful chapters of a cruel reality check. He didn't cry on the court. He smiled, shook hands, answered media questions like a professional. But later that night, in a quiet locker room with his shoes still laced up, he buried his head in a towel and cried like the teenager he still was. No cameras, no quotes, just tears. One of his teammates walked by and patted him on the back. You'll get it next time, Braun. But the world wasn't so patient. The next day's headlines didn't talk about how young he was, how little help he had, or how just being there was a miracle. No, not ready for greatness. Crowns aren't given. Is LeBron overrated? And for the first time, he believed some of it. He didn't want to pass anymore. People called him scared. He didn't want to shoot. They called him selfish. He was suffocating in expectations that never once asked if he was okay. One night, after a brutal loss to Boston, he sat in the gym alone with his trainer. The arena was dark. Just two voices, a bouncing ball and the echo of doubt. I don't know what they want, LeBron said, shooting aimlessly. If I pass, I'm scared. If I shoot, I'm selfish. If I win, it's not enough. If I lose, I'm a joke. The trainer didn't reply. He knew the weight LeBron carried. Not just for himself, but for Akron, for his mom, for the belief that had been forced on him before he ever had a chance to say yes. That was the night something cracked inside. Not broken. Not yet. But cracked, and it never fully healed. The crack inside him turned into a decision. If they wouldn't let him grow, he would have to leave to grow. That's why, in July 2010, LeBron sat across from Jim Gray in that now infamous chair and said the words that burned Cleveland to the ground. I'm taking my talents to South Beach. He smiled when he said it, but inside, it felt like a funeral. He left Akron's love behind, left his mom in tears, left a city that raised him, and in return, they burned his jersey in the streets. The same streets he built courts for. The same people who once screamed King James now called him coward. Still, in Miami, the hype was unbearable. Bosh, Wade, and LeBron, the super team. And then came that parade. The lights, the music, the chant that would haunt him forever. Not one, not two, not three. He played along, threw his hands up, laughed. But that night, in his hotel room, he sat on the edge of the bed in silence. His phone was face down. ESPN was on mute. The reflection in the mirror looked tired, not from the move, but from the pressure that followed him like a shadow. They think I just flipped a switch, he muttered. But I'm still that kid trying to figure this out. Then came the 2011 finals. Dallas. Veterans. Underdogs. The stage was his. The title was his. And he disappeared. Not injured. Not benched. Just gone. Low shot attempts. Hesitation. Fourth quarters that passed without him. He didn't even look like LeBron. The world noticed. So did his teammates. He disappeared. One of them would say later in a documentary, voice low, eyes heavy. The backlash wasn't normal. It was brutal, cruel. Headlines screamed, choke artist, like it was his legal name now. Fans in hotel lobbies chanted, overrated. One man even yelled, you'll never be Kobe, bro. Never. And it stuck in his chest like a knife. That summer, he didn't go on vacation. He locked himself in the gym. Days blurred. Nights bled into mornings. Calluses split open. Bandages wrapped fingers that wouldn't stop bleeding. He studied Kobe. Studied MJ. Not the highlights, the body language, the silence, the cold. One night, after a punishing workout, Wade walked in. Still trying to prove something? Wade asked. LeBron didn't answer. Wade sat down across from him. Eyes serious. Voice raw. Be the villain. Or be forgotten. That line hung in the air. LeBron stared back, breath shallow. No jokes. No nods. Just a quiet decision growing louder inside him. He didn't want to be loved anymore. He wanted to win. And for the first time in his life, he wasn't scared of what that might cost. He chose to change. Not for the crowd. Not for the cameras. For himself. That summer after Dallas, LeBron became unrecognizable, not in how he played, but in how he prepared. No more commercials. No more handshakes. Just blood, sweat, and quiet rage. The gym became his confession booth. The weight room, his punishment. Every missed shot from the finals, he replayed it. Every slip, every freeze, every whisper of choke, he wore it like armor. By the time the 2012 season tipped off, the smile was gone. In its place, cold focus. People noticed. So did his opponents. So did the Heat. That year, he didn't need a pep talk. He was the storm. Mid-season, he dropped 40 with flu symptoms. Another night, he hit 5 straight threes in the fourth. No celebration, Just a walk-off stare that shook even the most loyal haters. Still, the world didn't trust it. Let's see him in the finals, they said. He folds when it matters, they insisted. And then came OKC. Young guns. Durant, Westbrook, Harden. Hungry, reckless, fearless. But LeBron? He wasn't playing with hope anymore. He was playing with fire. Game 5. Series on the line. Late in the third, he went down. Leg cramped. Couldn't move. Crowd silent. Wade reached to help him up, but LeBron waved him off. Dragged himself upright. Limped to the top of the key. Next possession, he caught the ball, leaned back, and fired a three. Splash. The Heat bench exploded. The building trembled. LeBron screamed to the heavens as if years of pain had just left his lungs. They won that game. They won the title. And for the first time, he cried in public. Not quietly. Not hidden. Right there on the court, holding the trophy like a lifeline, he dropped to his knees and wept. His mother ran out, hugged him like she did when he was 17, and broke his first pair of shoes. But the noise didn't go away. Too easy. Super team. Ray Allen saved him in 2013. They always found something. After the 2013 title, after the clutch performances, after the historic finals, they still refused to call him killer. One night, post-championship, he sat at dinner with his mom. Just the two of them, in a quiet Miami restaurant. She reached across the table. "Why don't you smile more, baby? You won." LeBron looked down at his plate. "Because they still think I'm afraid of the moment." She didn't answer, just held his hand. And then he made the decision that would change everything. Go home. Back to Cleveland. Back to the fire. Back to the place that cursed him, so he could try to heal it. He didn't want redemption through trophies. He wanted it through forgiveness. And to earn that, he'd need to do the impossible. Again, stat sheet don't measure hard. That one line, raw cold, came from a retired NBA player on a viral podcast in 2024. The clip spread like wildfire. The host leaned forward, eyes lit. "So you're saying LeBron James never had it?" The guest shrugged. He had the body, the talent. But in the moments that define legends, he blinked. Millions watched. Comments poured in. Some agreed. Others were furious. But one person didn't scroll past it. He sat on the edge of his bed, fists clenched. Brawny. That same night, he stood on a college stage for a Q&A. Someone asked him what it was like being LeBron's son. Before the mic was fully in his hand, he answered, "Harder than you'd ever imagine." He paused, looked down, then added, "Because I've watched my dad carry pain that y'all never saw. Not just from losses. From the labels. Choke. Soft. Overrated. But he never quit. Never blamed. He kept showing up. For us. For the game. For people who hated him. That's hard." The room went quiet. Back in L.A., LeBron sat in his driveway. No lights. Just the soft wind and the weight of memories. He wasn't angry. He'd stopped feeling anger years ago. It had all turned into reflection. Into peace. His daughter came outside barefoot, holding a small drawing of him in a crown. She handed it to him, smiled, and said, "You don't need a real one." That broke him a little. Later that week, he spoke to all his kids in the living room. No cameras. No filters. Just truth. "You don't have to prove anything to anyone," he said, voice calm, eyes tired. "But if you love something, you give it everything, even when it doesn't love you back." The next day, LeBron attended a local charity event, basketball camp for underprivileged kids. A familiar man stood near the fence, older now, but his voice was instantly recognizable. "Hey, LeBron." He turned. It was him, the angry fan from the bar all those years ago. His voice cracked. "I said a lot of dumb things. I didn't know. I didn't understand the pressure, the weight, the expectations. You didn't choke, man. You just carried more than any of us could have handled. And you still came back. You still showed up." LeBron didn't speak. He just nodded once. That was enough. That night, after the camp ended, he asked for the arena to be unlocked. No crowd. No lights. Just the sound of his footsteps on hardwood. He walked to center court, looked up at the rafters. No jersey yet. Just air. Just memories. He closed his eyes. All the pain. All the doubt. All the fights. Gone. And then he whispered, "Goat or choke. I showed up. That's all that ever mattered." And he smiled, finally fully. because now he believed it too.